For more on this story, let's cross over to Javier Farje, who's a Latin American analyst in London. Good to see you, Javier. What's at stake right now for the indigenous people in the Amazon if they don't get the help that they so desperately need?
I think it's important to realize that in terms of the indigenous peoples in the Amazon, there is no national borders. They live across borders, and therefore there should be a regional strategy to help them. They already made a call to get some support and a fund to be able to support them, but some governments have not done enough to do this. In the case of Bolsonaro, back in March, for example, he opened the Amazon for mining, extraction and mining activities, something indigenous people have been opposing. The problem is that in some areas of the Amazon, the remoteness of the communities is so huge that it's very difficult for the help to reach them. In the case of Peru, for example, in the case of Loreto, which is the biggest department of Peru and the biggest portion of the Amazon in Peru, they have had a high levels of infections for coronavirus. In the case of Colombia, some communities have been fleeing their places to go to the higher grounds to escape from this situation. That doesn't make them safe from this situation. And we are talking about different countries. Now, what indigenous people need now on one is to reactivate the Pact of Leticia. The Pact of Leticia was a pact signed by the following countries: Colombia, Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, Brazil, Suriname, and Guyana in September last year to deal with issues like deforestation and climate change. The indigenous people want this pact to start dealing with the coronavirus situation, so all the indigenous people can actually have the support and they need their help to combat this. There have been already cases, as you mentioned in the initial report, of infections among indigenous peoples, but the facilities, the medical facilities that big cities have, does not reach them, which means that we are talking about a very serious problem. COICA, which is the umbrella organization that deals with the majority of indigenous nations in the Amazon basin, have already said that there's a risk of ethnocide, of the extermination of indigenous people due to this situation. But no government seems to be doing anything about that. They want this Pact of Leticia, this agreement they signed in September last year, for other issues to deal specifically with COVID-19. Otherwise, the situation will get much, much worse for those communities.
Javier, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for explaining it all to us. Javier Farje, Latin America analyst in London.